is the dimensions.
Right.
So, as I told you that there are 6 custom dimensions, total 13 custom dimensions we can create, and there are 7 default dimensions. Like
Okay.
total we can, yeah, total we can create almost around 20 dimensions. But mostly when the less number of dimensions you have, that the performance of an application is always in a good with less number of dimensions.
Okay.
So in terms of the dimensions creations, we should always taken care of that the performance of an application, because you cannot develop a thing which cannot be as good in performance. Because at the end, ultimately, you have to just troubleshoot and find the correct issues to improve the performance of that application. In terms of the applications kind of the things, here in this application we have created around 11 dimensions. In that 7 are default and 4 are the custom dimensions. So
Okay.
the default dimension is always an account, entity, period, scenario, version, year.
Second, yeah. Period, account, year, scenario, version, entity. Yes.
Yeah.
Six.
And the
Yeah,
rest of the dimension,
six.
yeah.
No,
So
we
it
have
can be
six.
if your application is a multi-currency, then the
Mhm.
currency application will be as a default application. But if your application is not a multi-currency, like you will just we want to take care the currency application by your end, then you have to create as a currency as a custom dimension.
Okay.
At that case, at that time you will have the only 6 default dimensions.
So basically, if you're saying like if it is not multi-currency only, then we create.
No, it's not about the, because there is an option when I have created as an application, if you have remembered, there is an
Yeah.
option as a
USD.
multi-currency. So suppose
Right.
in the initial phase, suppose you are working with your organization and you are developing some project, you are working with some project, so you have not selected as an multi-currency and you have created as an application. But after 2 years, there you got as a business across the globe, and there are 2 or 3 currencies are now transactional. So at
Okay.
that time you will not delete, you cannot make as an application as a multi-currency. So what you have to do, you have to just go and create as a one dimension as a currency, and in that you just put the currencies, whatever the input currencies, and according to you have to just written as a rule from your side for the translation kind of the things.
Okay.
And for that you have to just create as an account where you can just put the exchange rate, average and ending, and accordingly you have to just calculate the things. So
Okay.
when you are not making as an application as a multi-currency, at that time you have to handle with the custom dimensions. But when you select as an application as a multi-currency, then the currency dimension is by the default, and everything, the input currencies, the reporting currencies, kind of the things will present in application. Suppose this is application is not a multi-currency. I will just explain this. I will just show you what is the difference between multi-currency and single currency, how the flow is there. So basically, you are working in which organization? It's like you will get as a opportunity. It's a like product-based company or service-based company.
They have service.
You are providing as a service. So the purpose behind the learning the PBCS is like you will get the definite like projects, and you have to just complete that project related to PBCS. Is that?
Um, so what happens is I think what they are doing is like sometimes they acquisition certain entities like whatever they have, like earlier there was a discussion recently there, so they acquire 50%
Because
of some
the reason behind asking this question, if you're looking for an organization's point of view learning the Hyperion or the PBCS, then my approach will be something different, because I will not go in deep in terms of the development of the things. But if your goal is to develop an application for another organization, like we are getting as a project, suppose you are working with Apple International, and we got as a project for the PBCS implementation for an Apple. So being as a company, I will go and implement their complete PBCS and just get back after the implementation. Or if there is any support, then I will handle. Otherwise, I will just thrown out from the company. So So is that kind of the operations you have, or your company is dealing with an only implementation support kind of the things, IT type of services?
I think they already have PBCS installed because I don't really have their much details because they haven't really shared that yet so far. But what I'm thinking is I think it's more gonna be support, but there might be some changes down the road from the
Yeah,
implementation
but
perspective.
you are working with big organization.
The company that I'm going to be working, Secor.
So that Hyperion is only you have to use in Secor, or you have to develop in other organizations. Like Secor is getting a project for another company, and
No.
you being as an
It's their own work. It's not like a
okay,
consulting company which will get it
I understand. So
across
it's
the
not a consulting kind of thing, correct?
yeah.
So like they have hired you for their in-source resources,
Right.
in-house
It's
resources.
more like an end client job. So
Okay,
I'm
it's
working
like only
directly with the end client. Yeah.
okay, fine. So this is this demo application is in multi-currency, which we have created, and in that I will show you the dimensions. You will see as in a currency. This one the currency is in a default, and if you
Okay.
click on this, you will get as a, this kind of things. Input currencies, because we have not created anything, then it is created by default because we have marked as a multi-currency, and the reporting currency is USD underscore reporting.
Okay.
But in this application, like which is a single currency, this currency and scale is created with some custom dimensions, and in that you will get like these kind of things: local currency, local input, or reporting currency. That is basically depend upon the requirement kind of things. So this is the
Mm,
difference between single currency and the multi-currency.
so this is basically the look and feel difference of it, right?
Correct, yes. We have to, if it's your application is not a multi-currency, but your transactional is in multi-currency kind of things, then you have to create as in a dimensions, and the again placeholder for different kind of these things. And for this, you have to just write a rule like the translation or the exchange rate translation rule.
Right.
Yes. So this is the major difference between the multi-currency and the single currency. Now
Mm,
I'm going to explain you about the default dimensions, like the scenario. Scenario is something what it's in a place of bucket where we are putting our data. Correct. Scenario is always like actual budget, forecast, latest estimates, and everything. That is always in a scenario. If you're listening as in a budget in terms of the PBCS, budget is always your scenario.
okay.
And the use of the scenario is to just place hold the data.
Okay.
Correct. There is a version. Version is called like what kind of the versions you have. You have suppose many versions data. One is for the reporting, one is for the final, one is for the intermediate. So these kind of the versions also you can create.
Okay.
Entity is always your unit, business unit. Period and the scenario. Years. Years is always your financial year, and the period is your financial period. This is in kind of the default dimensions. Now you, if you get any chance to see your application in like in between couple of days or in the next week, so that I will get, or we can get the access. If we try to get an access, so that will be easy me to explain in terms of your application, so that your understanding will be much faster and the smoothly. So that
Okay.
things you can use in your day-to-day life, because this is something a different application in different business zone. But your
Right.
business, what kind of the business you are having?
So they are basically they rent out they have ships which they rent out to transport the stuff from one port to another.
Okay, it's kind of the marine line business.
Right. Secor Marine, that's what their name is. And then more like if there are some ships which need some tow services in the sea, that's what they do. and if they have some repair that needs to be done or something needs to be shipped to a particular ship in the sea, that's what they do.
Okay. So these kind of things will be like different. Means if you are in different business zone, and because my objective is what, like initially what I thought that you will going to be implement this application for different clients, but your requirement is not this kind of things. Your requirement is like you want to study just to support your business in terms of the marine business. Basically the first requirement what you have
Right,
initially.
right.
After it can be increased, like if you have that knowledge you can change the company, you can make your career in PBCS field. That is a different approach. But for now we have to just focus. We have just covered the dimensions. So now we will go to the forms, because these options are mostly for the admins option. Like first and second row is for the user based, and the second and third and fourth rows is for the admin.
Okay.
Like this is for the this create and manage, action, reporting, monitoring, explore, workflow. This is for the admin purpose. So not going to be see by the users. If you're a business user, you will not going to see this screen. Like this one you will not going to solve, because this
Okay.
thing is it's handled by the admin only. So
Okay.
my objective is I'm just explaining you these things. But if you are not, because in this forms is basically the group of the input forms in which we are creating in terms of the help of the dimensions to just punch the numbers. Suppose you required this one. This one is the form. So this is the, you can just click, you will see as in a period. So you are just capturing the for the Jan period. This is your currency. This is your year. This is your entity. You don't have any entity, so we have set as an entity. Base is your version, base version. Actual is your scenario, and my date one and my date two is your account. So this kind of the all the dimensions you have to taken care when you're creating as an input form.
Okay.
Correct. So now
Yes.
how you can create as an input form, that I will show you. The input form is basically used to just to capture the number. That's it. So now I will just, there is an option called as an action. Just click on the action. There is an comma as an create simple form. Correct.
Okay. Hmm.
So you have to just give the name of that form,
Okay.
and you have to select as a source cube. It should be an MIS or demo. But this thing it cannot be changed. If you have selected as a demo and have created a save next and save the application, you will not going to change that in form.
Oh, okay.
So this is something you should have to know, in which cube you have any data and for which cube you are just preparing the forms. Now go to the layout. Layout is something, the combination of dimensions. You see there is 7 default dimensions are there.
Hmm.
Correct. So
Right.
entity you can select versions, you can select years for which year you want. You can select as an account, period, scenario, and the things.
So
There is an account.
only the seeded
Yeah.
or the default dimensions are gonna be here, the point of view.
Oh no, because we have not created any custom dimensions, so that's
Oh, that's
the
why it's
reason
not
it's not.
showing.
Just a second, I have created one. I will just refresh the database, and that is the more important thing. If you do any operations, like if you create anything or if you can delete anything, you have to just run the refresh database.
Okay. Basically, after any.
Any changes, and that is present in overview. There is two ways to refresh it. First, in dimensions also it's possible. In dimensions, if you can create, if you have created something like You have created as a product.
Okay.
And the custom dimension once created cannot be deleted. You cannot create any dimensions if you have created once. And to create dimensions, we have to go to there, this option. This is we have to click for the MIS, and this is for the security kind of things. If you want to enable a security, you have to just click on the security. It will be data storage will be never share, member name and the alias. Just save it.
So let's say earlier we were talking about currency, right? Let's
Yes,
say earlier we were doing only the companies doing business in USD. Down the
correct,
road, after 2 years, they start business in Europe. So they add another
correct,
currency as European or GBP.
correct, correct. Yes,
Few years down the road, they add another country, let's say Africa, and they want to add their currencies. So will it be like
correct.
one seeded for USD and then two custom for currencies for the
No,
one for
if
Europe?
if for initially level, if you have selected a multi-currency, then that is
Mhm.
no problem. You can directly go and add in default dimension as a currency. But in case you have selected as a single currency application, you have not selected as a multi-currency, and now you want to change as a multi-currency. You got in a business for the different country, so now you want to become as a multi-currency application. So in that case, what you can do, you can just create as a custom dimension as a currency, and in that currency you will just write like one for the USD. In currency, you can create as a hierarchy: USD, Euro, GBP, THB, whatever the currencies, you can just write it like this, just like this application. If you can see it in currency, and scale, we have created one local currency in which we are taking as an input, and for every entity their local currency will be their default currency, and then for the reporting purpose we have created these kind of the currencies: Canadian, INR adjustment, KIP, RMB, SEK, THB and USD.
So the seeded dimension, sorry, the custom dimension would always have to be a multi-dimension, or can we create it as a single dimension as well? Again.
You can create as an single dimensions. It's not about the multi dimensions. Dimension is something like this is your dimension and these
Sorry,
are your
sorry, not the
members.
multi. Sorry, not the basically single currency. Like let's say
Yeah,
we have USD as a currency,
correct,
and which is like created not as a multi-dimensional. Down the road, we
multi,
get a European business, and then
correct,
we add another currency, which is a custom currency. But at that time, also, we didn't create it as a multi-currency.
correct, yes.
And down the road, and third, we add another country, or then we created a multi-currency, and then so there will be two custom for currency, right?
Correct, yes.
Okay. So I was just checking
So,
that can you create
no.
multiple?
So it's like you are working with one organization. Suppose you're working with organization A, which is in a
Mhm.
single currency USD application. Correct.
Right.
Now, after some time, the A has got a business for Europe. So the
Right.
EUR is euro is also now in terms of the transactions. So
Mhm.
what you will do when initially, just a second, when initially you have only one entity as an USD.
Right.
So no need to create any currency because whatever they are
Mhm.
reporting is by default you are understood that it's in USD. So no need to create any dimensions in this case.
Okay.
This is your first case. Now you got as a business in a euro. So when this case happened, you have to go to the near application and then you have to create as a custom dimension called as a currency. And
Mhm.
in currency you can create as a reporting currency, or whatever the currencies you want. Or if you don't want to create as a reporting, you can directly create as an USD and UER. Now, after 2 years, you're saying in Africa currencies, then Africa, whatever it is, it's I think CAD or whatever.
So at that time, we don't really have to create another
No,
custom
no need to
dimension.
create any dimensions. No, you can just
Okay.
add in that. You can just
Okay.
INR in that, THB in that, SEK in that,
Okay.
and
Okay.
UD in that.
Got it.
Whatever they are coming, you can just create it. But for the transactional or the translation level, you have to write as in a logic with respect to the exchange rate. That is, you have to maintain.
Got it. Okay. Yeah.
But when in terms of the application structure, this will be your application structure. Understood?
Yeah.
So now this is the currency application, and what I have explained you. Okay. So when creations of a form, suppose we have created as a one custom dimension as in a product, because you asked me that only custom dimension, only default dimensions can be used in forms. This is not a case. Whatever the dimensions you have in your application, that can be used in a form, because every possible combination is required to fetch a data. If anything
Okay.
is missing, the data will not come, or you cannot punch the data in your application. Suppose this is our application, this is form, whatever we have created initially. Now you will see the product is already there, correct?
Okay. Got it.
So you have to use in this also, you have to just punch in which product you want to punch as data. So now no product I have selected, because I have not created any product in that. So this is something, and this is the properties of a dimension properties. This is a member name or a alias. I have already explained you about the member name is something the name of a member, and the alias is something their nickname or their descriptions and kind of thing. Suppose the account is my date one and my date two is something your start date and end date. So that alias we have to give as in a my date one as in a start date, and my date two is to end date. So when you click on this alias option, at the time of the display purpose, it will show you in the alias.
Okay.
And this is for the hide dimension. If you want to hide some dimensions over that form, you can hide that by clicking this. Correct? These are the something properties of an asset system. Like if you are using display properties, which kind of the display you required, you can make form read only, you can hide form, you can display value as a blank, enable mass allocate, enable grid split. This is something a different thing, but I'm just explaining you in the like the basic things which you can do in a forms. So in smart view options, disable spreading, disable formatting, sheet protection. Like this form, if you open on Excel smart view, because you might be know that there is an extension called as a smart view,
Yeah.
which is working, which is Excel add-in, in which we can make as a connection with an PBCS, and can view the every forms, every operations we can do. We can fetch the data from the Excel by that options.
So
So
does the smart view work with all of them, like PBCS or ARCS
yes,
or all of them?
correct.
Okay.
Yes, complete thing.
And what about the FR Studio? Does it work only with the, or is it
FR
a
Studio
tool?
is working with only the application. It's not working with an Excel. In
Okay, okay.
FR Studio, you have to just go and you have to just create the reports manually.
Okay, got it.
Okay. So there is another option called as, in which you can put the dimensions like the decimal, how many points you want, minimum and maximum. Minimum is 0, you can create as a maximum as a 2. Don't want to show number as an after decimal 10 points or 15 points. You just want to show as in a 2 points. So that thing you can do by here.
Okay.
There is a business rule concept. You can attach any rules in your forms. Suppose there is an allocation kind of the things you are just creating in a form. I'm just giving an as an example. You have created as in a growth percentage for the forecasting, and now you are entering as a growth percentage in your form. So now what you want? You want to just calculate the rules as you submit the data. So here is an option. If you have to create that business rules, and that business rules we will attach in your form. And there
Okay.
is option called as a run after save. So you have to click on run after save. As you save the form, automatically the rule will start in a background running rule, and after some time you will get as a desired result on the same page. And I will show you by one application. Just let me know if you have. I
What is this one? The run after load. Like, is it after the loading the data?
correct. Run after the load. Yeah, after loading the data, it will just run it.
Okay.
So this is the properties of a form, whatever you can create in your application. As you will get chance to work it, that will be really good to see the functionalities of the forms, how you can use it.
Okay.
I I was explaining you something. I just want to show you something. Suppose this is my applications, and I have created as in a form that you can check in this data command. Suppose I will show you like this in the forms.
Mhm.
I have created forms in under library sections. In demo, I have created some forms. Correct. Suppose this is the, like, you can open it. It's for the production. So input form production is there. So you can just click and edit. Just check it how I have created it. This is the live data. This is your layout like this. I have taken as an a version as an a working one. This is your raw materials. This is your channels. This is your view. This is your currency. This is your entity. Correct. This is your scenario, and this is your years. I have taken accounts, this one, and this is your complete level 0 descendant of year total. So it will give you as in a January to December all months.
Um. Okay.
Yeah, ask me. Yeah, ask me. Any doubts you have, you can
So,
ask me.
so in the rows, it can only be accounts.
It can be anything. It can be any dimensions, whatever you want. You can just drag and
Okay.
drop.
Okay. Okay.
Anything
Same
else?
as for column, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's in a flexible form. What dimension you want to show with respect to what, that is purely depend upon you.
Okay.
Anything else?
No.
You have understood the structure of that form.
Some point, yes.
If you have any doubt, you can ask. No issues.
No, what I'm thinking is like from if we get a requirement, how do we decide that? I mean, what should be our point
Suppose,
of view,
yeah,
or
suppose you have gotten a requirement kind of things that you want to you want to capture the data of a production,
mm-hmm.
correct?
Uh-huh.
So you might have to think what data we required to for the production calculations. For production calculation, I required this account one as an consumption ratio and something like the sales or something kind of things we required. That is basically as a functional kind of the understanding you should have at the time of the creations of an forms. This is dragging and dropping of a dimension is easy, but the logic and the thought process behind that is always a difficult thing.
Right.
So you should have to understand like which kind of the operations you want, what is the output you want to deliver. As you start working in an application or you will get as an access, you will try to get an access as soon as possible so that we can work with your application. So in that you will get that more confidence to use and to work on that.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check with them because they were about to give me the access to Fusion for financials, but I didn't check. I'll check by PBCS as well.
Okay, fine. So there is another options where I have already explained you about the dimension, like the decimal position, how much you want to. You have kept present a 2, and the next point is called as a business rules. So there is a rules I have created for calculation of operational days and that I have attached in this particular form, and that option I have given as a run after save.
Okay.
So now if I'm opening that form, let's finish it, and
And what is this one? To use members on form?
which which is this one, correct? The last the this. Suppose you are giving some runtime prompt,
Mm-hmm.
like for this form I have created particular for 1 year, but you can create as in a variable also
Okay. So then
for,
you have to add a
and
prompt.
it very, yeah, it can be added as in a prompt. So at the time of running it will just pop up the prompt
Okay, got it.
for an input. This is,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to just
So
put that prompt,
for a prompt, can we add like it can be any dimension, right? For the prompt, like it
correct?
can be the point of view
Anything,
or whatever.
anything of respective dimensions.
Okay, got it.
Yes. So the input form is like show like this, present in a data option. After creating the forms, you can check in data, this data option, your forms and everything. We have under demo, under production one form. So suppose this is for plan 20 and the scenario is plan, and you can change the years also as per you want. Remember, you have selected 21 and then you have to just click on this arrow, this one. So you will see as a number here, correct? So
Okay.
suppose for the February you have as an installed capacity per day 50, 80. and so your production is 2160. So now if you're just reducing your installed capacity as in a 40 and just save it. What is your production now? 1080.
Okay.
So this kind of the rules is already attached in a backend. So after that it will just calculate the numbers. With just one click, if you want to check your production, you can just check it from these forms kind of the things. So this kind of the forms you can create by the application. Suppose if anyone wants to understand, suppose I have created for one organization that like sensitive type of analysis, like in these COVID situations, if you want to understand how much your PNL is going to be affected or something this, so that also we can find out. I have that, just I will show you PNL sensitive analysis. In that, this is the plan. This is the last year actual, so that can't be edited because actual data will not be able to change it. Correct?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So this is your plan. This is your exchange rate. So if
Okay.
your exchange rate is changing, suppose now USD exchange rate to INR is nowadays is 75. So if it's changing 73 to 75, what is your profit now? 1570. When it's 73, I change it 75, and you will see what your profit will become now. 1515, correct?
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's changing. So this kind of the analysis we can do. Suppose your days is increasing, it's not 25, you're saying it's 45. Just click on the 45 and just submit the numbers. Just save it. It's now become as a 1439. It's your profit
Yeah.
already decreased. So this kind of the analysis you can do by the forms and the PBCS. That is something good. In one click, you will just understand how your profit is going to be affected.
Right. Right. Okay.
So these kind of things you can create by the forms. So all these properties of a forms. Now after the forms, I will take you into the these kind of the appearance and the variables. Appearance is basically and the things is your appearance of an application. You can attach your logo, your organization's logo, your organization's picture in that.
Change the colors or like something because that's what I
Correct,
have
yeah.
done. Like, change.
Okay, you
So
have
for
done
this
that.
also, do you have to do like you have to create a sandbox here or no?
No, no,
Because
no.
in
You have to just,
Dimension,
you can, suppose like I will show you. You can just take one picture. Marine business. Just you have to copy that address
okay.
and just paste it in your background and just save it. Now see this.
Okay, got it.
So this kind of the appearance you can just give it to the application. And this is the logo of an Oracle. If you want to replace this, you can also do it. By, what is the name of your organization?
C4.
C.
No, it's SEACOR.
War.
No, core. Core. COR.
Okay, C core.
Yeah. It's one word.
Okay, this one.
Yeah.
So if you want to attach this one, then just view image and see this.
Okay.
So your logo can be there. And this is the theme kind of thing. If you want to change, you can just change it. Correct? So this is the things you can do by the appearance. The next thing is in a variables. Variables is something, there is two types of the variable. One is an user variable and the next is substitution variable. So the difference between the users variables and substitution variable is a variables which is used for the particular users. Suppose we have two users and I have created as a sub variables for me. You cannot use my variable or whatever I want to execute, I can execute on variable one and you want to execute for the variable two, that is something depend upon the user's requirement.
Okay.
But there is an option as a substitution variable which is in a global variable. In that if you can set something, suppose like if you can say as in a current year as an F.20, so that will be like the on a global level that the user, if you are running for the current year, it should be always an FY20. You cannot change
Okay.
for the FY, you can not make it for the FY21. But if you're making as an year variable in under user variable, so you can put your like you want to calculate for FY21, FY22, FY23. So that kind of things is just created by the user variables and the substitution variables.
Okay. So
So
one quick question here. Like from the for the substitution variable, um, it was saying like cube, right? So does it work with the cube? If you
yeah,
go to
it's working on a
substitution.
particular cube, yes.
Okay.
So you can create as an user variable first. There is an account, whatever the dimension you want, you can just take it. I am taking as an year. So user variable name I'm just taking as an underscore hyphen year. Sorry. And user variable definition. And what you want in that member selector you can do. So there is an option called an year. There is a function. In function you can click if you will get these kind of the relationship. So you can select as in children of your years. So whenever you create any year after FY30 also, if you can create any FY31, 32, 33, you no need to go to this application to change it. You have selected as children of years, it will automatically take it as a children of years.
Oh, okay, got it.
So now you have saved it. Correct. Now we will go to this. I will go to your forms. Correct. In this forms, the form is date we have created. In that layout, in the year, This is we will take is an underscore this year. Now we will save it. Correct. Now this form is saved. So now if you want to open it, now in from data, like from this data option, sorry, where is the data? You want to open it. A substitution is required for this calculation if undefined variable. So you have to just select for your substitution variable first, like the user variable.
Okay.
This kind of things you can create, like if one form is used for the one user is using for FY21 and another is using for FY22, so that can be used in that thing.
Why didn't it show you the data? Like,
Because you have not selected as in a variable. What is will be a variable, like you created as a user variable.
you didn't really pick up any year because it just said any year, but you didn't really pick up any year,
Correct,
right?
correct. So particularly you have to select as in a user variable. Like if you're a user, then you have to select as in a user variable for which year you want to check it.
So basically, you'll go to the tools variables and then select a value there.
Correct, correct, correct. I will show you how to just do it. So that is that option, different option that the users can select it. For that, you have to go to the smart view in that forms. Like this is option is not available here till now. You have to go to the smart view just to select that user variables. Like what will be your user variables? I will show you in smart view. If I have an open any application, I will just show you. I will show you how to make a connection with an smart view. Don't worry.
Okay.
So after making connection, you will select as a user preferences, and in that user variables are there. So in that we have created as a year, so you have to select as a year here, whatever, and just refresh it, and after that you will see the data in that. I am not remember, like there is in application also you have some options, but now I'm not getting it. But I will just explain like from where you can just add that the things, like in terms of the user variable kind of things. And the substitution variable is something which is in a global, like in variables. The substitution variable is something as in global variable, like We can create as an, it's for which cube you want for the MIS demo or all cube. That is option is present under this. You have to give as an name. Suppose you're giving as an current underscore year. So you have to give to as in a value. What will be your current year? So suppose we have given as a FY 20, correct, and just save it. Record saved successfully. Now you will go to your waveform. Suppose you don't remember the name of your user variable or substitution variable, then also you can add by this option. I will just show you this in layout. This is in a year. You have to go to click on this option. Correct. Now this is there is in a variables, user
Okay.
variables and substitution variables. This is current year. You can just select it. There is option as called as an add. So it will add it. Okay. So now there is current year and just save it. And the preview will be like this.
So where did you go to select that variable? You went into exactly the same dimension, right?
Correct, yes. Same thing. If you want to select as a dimension, you can go to this option.
Okay.
And with all the product dimensions, whatever things will be there, that can be pop-up here. Like in terms of the account, I will show we have created. In terms of the account, edit is there. Edit it. And there is the balance sheet. Last time we have created as asset and liabilities. Correct.
Right. Right.
So you can directly add here. So this is something as in terms of the forms properties in terms of the variables and the user variables. Any doubts in
Okay.
that?
No, nothing so far. So
So I
the
just
document that you sent me, does it cover everything or was it just the high level?
no,
Uh,
it's cover everything. You can read out. It will cover everything. Every like the admin kind of the activities or the user kind of activities. Everything is just already added in there.
okay, got it. Yeah, I'll try to cover that over the weekend
Okay, fine,
read these
no issue.
accounts.
So I was planning to extend your sessions on the weekends like Saturdays, Sundays. If it's possible for you, we can make as in 2 hour sessions.
Yeah, we can do that.
If you have the time or like in not about the Sundays or if it's possible for the Saturdays,
I can try that.
but for the Saturdays or the Sundays, we should have to change our time. Like what the time you have free on Saturday? Because I
Um,
what is my plan? My plan is just to take control of your to you about the application, and then I will just give as an free instance on the next week so that you can just do the R&Ds and everything by that instance. So before going to provide you an instance, you should have that phase that you can just play with the applications, that you can create something whatever you want, that logically you should have knowledge about the things.
right, right. Let me think about a time tomorrow. Can I let you know tomorrow? Or
Correct,
what's
yeah,
your
sure.
availability? Like, do you have any time constraints?
Like if it's possible for you, just let me check. You're in which time zone?
I'm in Central.
Okay, CST. So is that 2 4 p.m. correct? 2 p.m. there.
Right now, yes.
Okay. So suppose on Saturday, if we are looking for some time around your evening time, I'm just looking for your evening time around 9.
9 will be
Will
too
that
late.
possible?
Yeah. No, because normally like the kids are home and it's their dinner time and everybody's dinner time. So 9,
Okay.
that's good. That's gonna be a little tough.
Okay. So 11 a.m.,
That should
10
work.
a.m., 10 a.m.
Can you do 12? I can try to make 12. Or will that
Actually, it's
be
like my dinner time and everything, so that's
alright?
something as difficult. So we'll do one thing. We will just start as in try to possible means like with the same time, and we'll try to extend the sessions. No issues.
No, I
Like the
can do
same
like
time
12 or like even if I can try like 11:30 or something like that because it's normally like um
because you are with your family, so that's not an issue. So
so
I'll try to make
one
according to you.
one quick
Yeah.
question like this training, how long is this training that you are going to be providing me?
Basically, the complete PBCS training is going to be completed within 18 to 20 hours.
18 to 20 hours, okay.
Yeah. And in that, the practical session is also included because the things which I want to explain is not, we have only 10 to 15 things just that I will just explain you in terms of the application over because you, if you can see the content of an application like this navigator is only I have to just explain you because this is the only applications.
Oh, okay.
But the thing is different in terms of the business, what, how kind of the requirement is there and what kind of things is there, something that is going to be matter. But this is the only content. But yeah, as I already suggest you that if you require some kind of help after the training also, then we have the context, you can just contact me.
Oh, okay. Got it.